Now here's a good question here. This gentleman, this is Tim from the Netherlands. Hey, Tim from the Netherlands. You have a family history of balding, and you have a good set of hair. You've been on raw. Your hair's getting thick and stuff. If you'll see on some of these responses here, people are already getting their hair growth back. I've had people that have been bald since they were in their 20s, and they were 60 and 50 when I met them, and I've never failed to grow hair on their head again. I think when you look at genetics and balding, you're really looking at genetics of the lymph system, the inability to move lymph. And the quicker you see that, again, the colon's tied to that, the kidneys are tied to that. I think when you see that and you go after those areas and you use that upper circulation like you're doing, it might take you a while. Sometimes people grow hair quicker than others, but I'll tell you, I've never seen one not be able to grow hair on their head again. And matter of fact, I had a lady that she owned a big herb company. And she called me and she said she had T-cell lymphoma. And she was in trouble. So she owned an herb company, and that herb company made our herbal formulas. And I said, listen, honey, you got to get raw. And you got our herbal formulas, and then you got yours. So I really kind of excited her, and she really went into this, tore into this. They had the money so they could order from Diamond Organics out of California, and she really tore into this. Now, she had salt and pepper hair, and she told me one time, she said, my hair went from, gray and black to black, and then to blonde. She said, I had blonde hair as a child. So does it make you wonder? Do we really know some of the fascinating things that could take place in the human body? Fascinating stuff. We've accepted what we see, and I look at these lab normals and everything else, it's like, we don't know. So, pretty far out. I'll say this, what else you got to do on the planet right now? Take off after that body of yours and really hit it hard. Here's a big thing here, though, with this is that you're thin, cold hands and feet, because you get the thyroid there. You're thin, so are we dealing in malabsorption or pancreatic? Remember, you guys, when someone's thin, what, are they not absorbing their foods properly? Or do they have pancreatic? Are they not digesting their foods? You can eliminate digesting by, do you see particles of food in your stools? Do you see particles of undigested food in your stools? If you do, except for corn, nobody digests corn, but particles of undigested food in your stool would be a direct indication more pancreatic, depending on the food. Pancreas digests your carbohydrates, fruits and veggies. You don't want to see fruit skins in your stool. Not good. And definitely vegetable either, but we would tend to see more vegetable than fruit skins because vegetables are much harder to digest. If you're seeing fats or fatty stuff, then your liver gallbladder's in trouble. Of course, that sort of thing. So, the most frequent problem with thinness is malabsorption. Now, that's going to go back to interstitial lymphatic constipation. You like that word? I think we should put it in the Webster's Dictionary. All right, interstitial lymphatic constipation. But how does that tie into balding? Because if you're having problems here, you're probably having problems in your whole family line of lymphatics. Isn't it cool that we can pull this back to the same thing every time? Because the only body is what? A bunch of cells and two fluids. Keeping it general and keeping it simple. That's what I like. And when you can do that, you can empower yourself, you can focus yourself. So I suggest your genetics is in your adrenals and your kidneys. You're not moving your lymph system. Now your guys' lymph system is backed up in the wall of the GI tract. You guys are getting malabsorbed from that. Of course, from that, the lymph system is taking off the hair and everything else. So work on all of that and work yourself out of that. Might take a little bit of a time, but that's okay. You can pop up that thyroid, but if your family is balding, you might have to suspect the pituitary here, because that's up here. And when you go balding, what's taking off hair? When you see no hair, think chemotherapy. That's an easy way to relate to that. And of course, when you think of chemotherapy, think of acid. Hot acid. As nurses say, Drano acid. So that sort of acid, you know, cellular acids are around 3 pH. Chemo's around 1.5 to 2. If they're using anything hotter nowadays, they used to use, I think, hotter, but you might ask your oncologist if you have one. I hope you don't. But if you have one, ask them the pH of any chemo you might be considering taking. A lot of cancer in the family, sugar problems. There you go. High blood pressure. What's sugar problems? Adrenal glands for the most part. All right. What's high blood pressure problems? Kidneys. Right there. Kidneys and adrenals. Guys, what problem are they having trouble with? That's right. The lymphatic system. Here's interstitial lymphatic constipation in the gut wall. He's thin. He's got suppressed thyroid. And he's got a family history of balding. Not him yet, but family history. So take off with that, guy.